Now that you know what matching and mirroring is, let us look at some of the aspects of a person's behavior that we can mirror. Let us begin with postures first. So when it comes to postures, check whether they are sitting, standing, kneeling or slouching. Check whether they are leaning in any particular direction. Whether their legs or arms are crossed or uncrossed. Whether their hands are in their pockets or holding an object. Whether their head is tilted in a certain direction. Or whether their feet are together or apart. Apart from posture, you can also match breathing, which includes the rate of breathing. So you'll have to check whether it is fast and shallow or slow and deep. Next is location of breathing. So check whether it is high in the chest, low in the stomach or middle line of the torso. Also, pattern of breathing can be matched. So you'll have to check whether it is regular or irregular. Just remember to avoid matching the breathing of a person with a respiratory condition such as asthma, as it could be distressing for them and unhealthy for you. One of the safest things to match is the facial expressions. A person is sitting in front of you, so they can notice your expression but cannot really see their own expressions except when there is a mirror behind you. So check for their brow. Is it wrinkled or smooth? Raised or lower? The mouth, including lips, teeth and tongue. The cheeks and the cheekbones. The eyes, jaws, and also look for facial symmetry or asymmetry. You can also mirror or match specific gestures. So check whether they gesture with their hands in a particular way, or they gesture with nods of head or another part of the body. Check the gestures are large or small, exaggerated or restricted. Check whether they use gestures to assist in describing objects or locations. Check whether they have a tendency to move their legs or their fingers. When matching or mirroring gestures, check which gestures are being used when the person is talking and which ones are being used when the person is listening. Use gestures that they are using while talking when you talk, and use the ones that they are using while listening when you are listening. Moving your hands only because the other person is moving their hands without paying attention to the fact that they are moving their hands while they are talking and you are while you are listening isn't really a good idea, is it? Kindly apply common sense here. Another thing that you can match is blink rate. Not an obvious part of physiology to match, some may say, but it can be more powerful than one might think in terms of establishing rapport, and it is very far outside of a person's consciousness. With this, we have covered some of the aspects of body language that we can use for matching or mirroring. Next is matching through voice tonality. You can check what is the pitch. Check whether it is high or low. You can also match the speed or the rate of talking. Check whether it is fast or slow. Volume is another element that can be matched. So check whether it is loud and booming or quiet and withdrawn. With body language and voice tonality, we can also use crossover matching or mirroring. This is by far the safest way to match or mirror a person's behavior. Safest because it is too subtle for the other person to figure out. So, what is crossover matching and mirroring? Crossover matching or mirroring refers to using one element of your behavior to match another element of the person's behavior. For instance, you can tap your foot at the rate at which your client is blinking, or you can adjust the rate of his speech to their breathing. These are some examples of crossover matching and mirroring. We will look at more of them later. Let us now talk about matching through spoken words. First is buzzwords. You will notice many people have certain words or phrases that they use quite frequently. For example, there are people who would use the expression to be true very frequently. There are some who may say, for all it's worth. I have a friend who frequently uses the expression, you know. You can start incorporating these words or phrases that the person uses in your conversations with them. You can also match what the person focuses on through their words. For example, some people prefer focusing on the bigger picture, while there are others who talk in specifics. What is the difference between the two? So, if you were to ask me about my plans for the evening, I may respond with different degrees of details. I may respond by saying, I am planning to go out. Or I may say, I am planning to go out with my family. Or I can get more detailed by saying, I am planning to go out with my family for a movie and then we would go for a dinner. Or my response may be even more detailed, like, I am planning to go out with my wife for a movie at the PVR and then would go out to Pizzeria for dinner. This degree of detailing can increase further as well. Notice the difference? You can check the level of details the person provides in their conversation and match the same as well. This is known as matching based on hierarchy of ideas. Next is matching the representational system that the person uses. Representational system refers to the type of word we use to represent information. We can divide the words we use as sensory specific and unspecified. Sensory specific words can further be divided into the words that are based on the 5 senses, that is visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory and gustatory. Example of using visual words is, my life has become dull. Example of auditory expression would be, my life lacks any kind of rhythm. Kinesthetic would be, my life feels like a drag. Olfactory would mean, my life stinks. Gustatory, my life has become sour or there is no spice in my life. Finally, example of unspecified word would be, there is something wrong with my life. We can notice the predominant representational system that the person uses and match the same as well. Because of its importance, we will look at the topic of representational system, tune into its application and explore the various benefits of using them in a lot more detail later. For now, we have gone through some of the ways that we can match and mirror a person to establish rapport. What is important to realize is that we are establishing this rapport not just because we wish to understand the other person, but also because we would like the other person to understand us. So, with matching and mirroring, what we are really doing is pacing the other person. The end objective of pacing is to really lead the other person towards an understanding that is a win-win situation for both of us. We have covered the topic of pacing and leading extensively in the conversational hypnosis module, though we will briefly walk through the same in the next video.